moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. It is 7 a.m. 7 a.m. and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, folks, good morning, and we're happy indeed to be here as we continue to give God thanks for life. I am Julian Skeet, and yes, this morning Rhea isn't in with us, but certainly, we certainly give Rhea some time to rest. And so wherever you are out there, Rhea, looking forward to you connecting with us from Tuesday, God's Spear. So yes, viewers, this morning it is Tuesday, and that is Tuesday the 21st of March 2023. And for many, they're probably quite surprised and shocked. Wow, we are already almost full through, completed the month of March, heading on in. The year is wasting no time at all, heading full speed ahead. Folks, today also marks World Down Syndrome Day, and today major awareness drives in and around the island, the country, the world at large. Yes, we are rocking our socks today, in keeping with. And let's remember, folks, it's twofold. It's twofold in the sense that we're creating that level of awareness and a greater level of understanding. And, I spoke about it yesterday. Happy to see it happening through our schools and so on. And then we're going one step further because there are also opportunities and the need to make contributions, financial and otherwise, to ensure the success of these institutions, which certainly cost a little bit more in terms of management and operation. So let's not forget, we also have that opportunity to be able to contribute and to give. And once again, I yesterday saw the inauguration of the 7th president of Trinidad and Tobago, Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo, and certainly looking forward to that. And I think historic moment in the mix here. First gentleman or first husband. We'll get the term correct as we go along, but we certainly know it's a first in our history here in Trinidad and Tobago. At this point, viewers, we head on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you so much, Julian. And here's your news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, the 21st of January. The newly inaugurated President of Trinidad and Tobago, Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo, pledged to work with all respective citizens, including those who may not want to work with her. Kangaloo stated in her first speech to the nation that she wishes to be the diplomat-in-chief for all citizens. She also announced her intention to initiate a nationwide education exercise on the role of the president, starting with primary school students. Kangaloo also expressed the desire to pioneer programs for at-risk students, utilizing the steel band model to instill discipline and other positive values. Additionally, the St. Andrew's Anglican School will remain closed for the remaining of this term. According to Assistant Secretary from the Division of Education, Research and Technology, Orlando Kerr, health officials continue to deal with a rat infestation problem at the school. A proliferation of rats in the surrounding community is frustrating efforts to rid the school of rodents. Following a meeting with stakeholders, a decision was taken to keep students off the compound. In the meeting, Standard 5 students would continue to attend classes at the John Dial Community Center, while other students would attend classes online. And finally, the Scrap Iron Dealers Association of Trinidad and Tobago called for a meeting with central government to address outstanding issues. At a press conference on Tuesday, the association's president, Alan Ferguson, explained that the current legislation prevents the industry from restarting after the 6-month ban. He pledged for a chance to if he has the chance to renegotiate with the government towards a solution for the scrap iron dealers, that they will adhere to some sort of legislation. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Back to you, Julian.
All right. Thank you very much there Chanel bringing us the news there in 90 seconds. All right, viewers, at this point, we prepare to head on into our birthday celebrations. We prepare to head on into some birthday celebrations today. And as we get into the birthday celebrations this morning, all right, so we get started with none other than Dexter Trim. If you are like me and you know him in the Rotary circles over the years, past President Dexter Trim, want to wish you a happy birthday. Some know him in the festivals, Arena Festivals Commission, wishing you a happy birthday and God's continued blessings. Enjoy the day to the fullest. And we also have on screen with us Calicia McEwen, and sending a birthday shout out to you coming from my entire family and the Tobago Updates family, wishing you the very best and God's continued blessings. Do enjoy the celebrations. And today, folks, no picture on screen, but I want to take the opportunity to send a personal birthday shout out to my stepdad out there, Selwyn Pilgrim. You know, really a gentleman in his own right. Easygoing, humble. Anybody that knows this fella at all over the years, you know, his long time at one of our public utilities, doing his service in and around Tobago diligently. I want to take the opportunity to wish you a happy birthday and God's continued blessings every step of the way. We'll be in contact certainly as we connect with this birthday celebration for 2023. Selwyn Pilgrim, shout outs to you this morning coming from the entire family. All right, viewers, and as we continue on this morning, it's important to bring some general updates and information to you. The Eco-Industrial Development Company of Tobago, and that's EDCOT, wishes to advise the public of a full-scale emergency simulation exercise on Thursday, the 23rd of March, 2023, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 noon, at the Cove Tobago Eco-Industrial Business Park, Canopy Road, Lowlands, Tobago. So that full-scale emergency exercise, EDCOT is advising, it takes place on Thursday, the 23rd of March, 2023, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 noon. And at this point, folks, you know, we just want to bring some clarity for you. We've been receiving messages and communication in relation to Friday's Live. That's on social media, on Facebook. And we want to advise you clearly that we would have, you know, to make it very clear to our viewing public, that for Friday, it was taken from Facebook for copyright reasons and whatsoever reports that may have been made, and Tobago Updates is not about censorship. We want to make that abundantly clear. So therefore, we have submitted a dispute, and we are looking forward to the resolution that will certainly allow the live to be made available for all who take the opportunity to go back and to view our programming. So at the moment, we have what I describe as a temporary block. The video has been blocked and can't be viewed. And therefore, we have submitted a dispute, and we are looking forward to a resolution, because certainly we are about having the information out there for you. And there is no censorship at all. We do not support that on Tobago Updates. So therefore, we look forward to that video becoming available and accessible to you. We also have some quick photos in the lineup this morning, recognizing the very momentous celebration yesterday, the inauguration of President Christine Kangaloo. And we see her there with Chief Justice of Trinidad and Tobago, Justice Ivor Archie. Certainly the greeting there, and we see Prime Minister, the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley. I'm now realizing Chief Justice from Tobago, Prime Minister from Tobago. A very nice lineup there in the mix. We also see her here taking her oath of office, Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo, and speaking very strongly in terms of her support for youth. And this is the kind of combination that I think captured the hearts of many yesterday. Her husband, as we would describe him, the first gentleman or first husband, as I indicated, we'll get that term right as we go along. And some light conversation here happening between Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo and Her Excellency Paula May Weeks, as that transition took place yesterday with the installation of a new president. All photos courtesy the Office of the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And we want to say indeed kudos and congratulations. We saw a grand reception following. If we, based on following the live that would have presented this event, making it accessible to the entire public. We also saw in attendance the Honorable Chief Secretary, Fali Chavez Agustin. We saw a minority leader was also in attendance, Kelvon Morris. And I would have also seen our Secretary for the Division of Education, Zarisha Hackett, in attendance. And I want to suspect and a number of other officials. We saw Senator Lawrence Hislop also attending in the mix, and certainly ensuring that that representation exists. A very historic moment, the inauguration of the 7th President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo. And we certainly look forward to what will be a very interesting time ahead, especially coming out of those discussions or her presentation, her very first inaugural speech, speaking very heavily and very strongly to a number of areas that she intends to activate within the presidency, within her presidency, and more specifically, utilizing of the space and the grounds at President House. At this point, viewers, we head on over to Tobago in Focus.
Don't fear the smear. This is the name of the campaign powered by the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection and the Tobago Regional Health Authority, aimed at giving women the opportunity to get free pap smears during International Women's Month. Secretary of Health Dr. Faith B. Israel said there is a growing concern that women do not prioritize their health, and noted that healthy women means healthy families.
As women, we know that pap smears are not very, very comfortable things to do. They're embarrassing. You're literally sitting there with your legs akimbo, wide open, and the stranger is in all of your most inner parts, most private parts. So we were really encouraging the women, you know what? Let us not care about it. Don't fear the smear. Come out and get your pap smears, get your breast exams, and all of those things that we need you to do.
Launched on March 11th, the Secretary said the response was overwhelming. As such, additional testing sites have been activated to capture women in all communities. Dr. B. Israel also encouraged the men to be part of the process, as they too have a role to play.
Men have to be conscious of the fact that we need our women to be healthy. We need our women to be sound. And yes, we are going to be pushing the men as well. As a matter of fact, when I spoke last week in Trinidad, that was one of the things I highlighted. We need to focus on the men. So we'll be doing that soon, probably even before November. But yes, the men need to be a part of this.
All hands are on deck, according to the Health Secretary, including retired nurses and medical professionals at one private institution, offering their services, some free of charge, throughout the duration of the campaign, 7 days a week. Stay tuned to the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection's social media pages and public service announcements to get information on when you can access these free services in your area. So what are you waiting for? Don't fear the smear.
them a fire, and lyrics them a shot. We a go the MC, we no round about. We are the hottest thing about the on top. Everybody know what just so we stop. Sure, lyrics them a fire, and lyrics them a shot. We a go the MC, we no round about. We are the hottest thing about the on top. Everybody know what just so we stop. Sure, them a fight, 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 them a fight.
Put a smile on your face when you're
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back. It is 7:16 a.m. Welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, viewers, at this point we head on into our first segment here this morning. We are chatting with Darren Henry, Assistant Conservator of Forests, and this today is also where we recognize the International Day of the Forest 2023. And we're looking forward to these discussions as we also speak to the annual cleanup campaign. Good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Skeeter, and thank you very much for having me here.
All right, as we get the conversation started, so today is actually twofold in terms of our recognition. It's World Down Syndrome Day, Rock Your Socks, and it's also International Day of the Forest. Yes, and I see, yes, folks, he's rocking his socks as well. All right, so let's get started as we speak to International Day of the Forest. And I want you to remind us again of the significance of this day as one of the international days recognized.
Okay, so well, World International Day of the Forest, or International Day of the Forest, began in 2012, whereby the United Nations General Assembly would have designated that particular day as World Day of the Forest. And it's basically to create awareness among the populace, among countries, among people about the important role of forests, or the important role that forests play in our lives and livelihood to people who utilize the resources.
So tell us a little bit about the tie-in. As Assistant Conservator of Forests and your unit or your section or department, what role does it play in terms of within the Tobago context as part of the division's effort in preserving, protecting, or anything of the sort?
Well, the truth is that forest is the mainstay of the environment. Without a forest, we don't have an environment, basically. So the forest, some people might watch it as bush or insignificant, but forest is the mainstay of the environment, is the main part of the environment. And our role, we are governed underneath some legislation: the Forest Act, the Wildlife Conservation and Wildlife Act, the Sawmill Act, Furniture Shops, Litter Act, and also the Pongs Act. So those are the basically 6 acts that govern us in terms of assisting us with our management of the forest resources on the island. But we are small in staff and we can't do it our own. So we have partners that we partner with, we have NGOs that we partner with, and we have even individuals who will contribute and give us ideas, and we could, once it's good, we take it into consideration and help develop and properly manage and monitor the forest resources on the island.
Just before we dive into the annual cleanup efforts that's taking place this year, you have been involved in this area for a number of years.
Yes.
Would you say that you are seeing slow progress, you're seeing great progress in terms of these efforts to really have a greater level of respect for our environment?
I have seen over the years I've been here for about 24 years. There's an improvement or increase in the awareness about the population. We've seen a change in behavior of some person, but there are others, a minor segment, who are basically bent on doing their own thing or basically breaching the regulations. But in terms of, we have been doing our education drives, we have been doing our promotion. For example, here is a form of public awareness. We have been doing that. We have been going out to the schools, taking schools to wetland and rainforest. So I've seen some improvement in the behavior. And we have a number of people who, when things happen, they will call us. We call them confidential informers, CIs, confidential informers, who inform us of certain things, because a number of persons out there don't like what's happening, especially when season is closed or somebody's trying to thief a log from state land, etc. People will call us.
So there's a method to facilitate communicating that kind of information. If you have a concern, you want to remind us or share, what's the method? How do persons share that information with you, as you mentioned, CIs?
Well, the truth is that I told the staff that you go out there, you interact with people, and you build your own confidential informers. I don't want to know who is your confidential informer, because it's something that you have to have close to your heart, and it's a relationship that you build, and that people, you have to build that level of trust, because if you breach people trust. They would not give you the information. I have a lot of CIs. I would not share who my CIs are, and I would have informed the officers, if you have your CIs or confidential informers, I don't want to know who your confidential informers are. Basically, you get the information, we bring it, we check it out. If it's credible, and we act upon it, basically.
So yes, you in public, you have an opportunity to be a part of this process as well, in terms of bringing forward that information. So we have the annual cleanup campaign. Tell us a little bit about this initiative.
Well, basically, the initiative started about, I would say, about 7 to 10 years ago, where we found that driving along the roadway in the Main Ridge Forest Reserve, people fly tip a lot. Fly tip, you basically drive through and you throw your debris, your glass out of the window. So we find that was increasing, so we started to clean up. I remember one year we got like about, from the sign at Bloody Bay to the sign at Rocks with entrance and exit at the forest reserve, we got like about close to 40, 50 bags of rubbish we picked up. So we decided to do that this year, as is an annual, we try to do it once a year. We partner with the Tour Guide Association, other NGOs, so we basically go up and we walk the entire reserve, basically, and picking up rubbish on the side of the road to make the place clean as it should be. So we want people not to litter. There are bins, keep your rubbish in your car, but people are really challenging. And we have noticed that being field officers outside is an increase in illegal dump sites throughout the island, basically. Washing machine all over the place, white waste all over the place. So I'm not too sure what's really going on. Maybe we have to do more education along with public health to bring greater awareness. So that's basically our activity for today. We go to the Forest Reserve. It probably would have started at 6 a.m. I'm here. I had to go and join them after.
Yes.
So we walk in the entire reserve. It's exercise, it's working, but it's work exercise. We walk in for that entire stretch, maybe about, I would say about 3-4 miles through the reserve and cleaning up the reserve, all debris along the roadway. And in the
Who are some of the entities you said that you have also partnered with? Because from what I gather, this is not just exclusively a division initiative.
No. We normally work with a lot of NGOs. I think CPEP is on board this year, and obviously the Bloody Bay Nature Tour Guides. They are on board. Some of the tour guides and some of the other NGOs and some of the other departments are on board with this cleanup.
Would you say some of the persons, just as you mentioned, in terms of the tour guides and so, who frequent the area during the course of the year for their, their very own survival or business or raising an honest day's pay, that it helps in some way, form or fashion for them to also assist through the year based on the persons that they may bring to this area, trying to ensure that they don't, litter per se?
Yeah, well, the tour guides are on board. They know the important role of the forest in terms of their life and livelihoods, and they sometimes are our first eyes up there, because some of them are up there 7 days a week. So they are some of our first eyes if you have people who want to just go and camp in the forest or doing research, because our reserve, we charge a fee. There's a policy in the Tobago Assembly that we charge a fee for foreigners to come here to do research, and the fact that when they're doing their research, the officers are allowed to go with them to build capacity, and then a report is lodged within the Tobago House of Assembly, basically. So they pay a fee of $100 US, basically, for foreign universities to come to do research. Still minimal, but it will go a long way. It builds capacity, etc.
And there's definitely that opportunity for learning.
Yeah.
Again, the significance, we've grown up over the years hearing of the significance of the Main Ridge as our forest reserve and so on. Again, just remind our viewers and listeners about.
So the Main Ridge was strategically established in 1765. Actually, that is when it was set aside. But this politician, I think it was Jennings is his name, he would have fought for 11 years until 1776, when the actual law was proclaimed on the 13th of April. So this year, on the 13th of April, the Forest Reserve will be 247 years old, the oldest forest reserve in the Western Hemisphere, the first ever conservation effort globally on this small piece of real estate. That is why we have to cherish it, have to keep it, because without that forest reserve, our beaches, our life and livelihood in the rural communities, the waterfalls would have all been disrupted. Because think about Tobago, we probably have about 2/3 of the island under forest cover. Think about it not having that forest cover, the kind of environmental impacts. And the forest reserve really provide ecosystem services, carbon sequestration, purification of the atmosphere, production of oxygen, water production, water retention, infiltration, and all medicine and all those kind of things. And we have a number of plants. I'm suspect a number of things that probably are not yet discovered within there, because some areas are very, very challenging to get to, and I think that is one of the reasons why it's still in good stead. And by the way, most of the forest cover on state land is in really good condition, because the policy is there is no sale of state lumber on state land. That moratorium was established in 1990. So the only way we sell trees on state land is if work's going to do a road, Tech running lines, or a tree is dead or dying, people may write and we'll then look at it and sell it. So there's a moratorium on no sales of tree on state land in Tobago. That was since 1990 to now.
So, as you mentioned, works doing a road. We know of the recent scenario of venting in there. Were you a part of that contingent?
No, Mrs. Skid, I was not a part of that contingent.
Your thoughts in relation to that has to be a very kind of cautious undertaking. Given your passion and what you have just highlighted, there's a number of very specifics in relation to the area.
So that area is very steep. There's already an established road that cuts through the reserve. That's in Mount St. George Castle Road. The road is basically there still. If you're cutting a new road from Palatavia to Goldsboro, my book, if I had my say, that would be a personal, I would say no, because of the amount of environmental degradation will occur, fragmentation of the ecosystem, lots of environmental issues. Why build a new road and there's a base for one there already, basically? Tobago is small, and from Palatavia to Goldsboro, 45 minutes drive or hour drive. I mean, that is my personal opinion. But, we are public officers, and we are here to serve the public. So, and if the policymakers make the policy, we are here to carry it out, basically. That's how
certainly. Well, there's definitely that need for the collective input, because in that area, it would appear that a number of things could automatically be affected.
Yeah, the truth is, I'm of the opinion that if they do, I think the country, the island will take a lot of international licks, for want of better words, for constructing that road through the reserve.
All right. So as we prepare to wrap this morning's interview, any other key areas that you'd like to highlight or to remind our viewers?
As part of it, also the celebration is that also on the 30th of March, the division, along with the Tobago Reforestation and Watershed Rehabilitation Project, we're having the Main Ridge Fitness Challenge as a run-walk cycle from Roxborough, Sidbury Stadium to Bloody Bay, either the beach facility or the recreation ground. So it's divided into 3 segments. We have the 5K, which starts at the Orientation Center, run and walk prizes or hampers for the oldest person, male and female, the youngest person, male and female, and then you have the 15K run and walk from Roxborough to Bloody Bay, and also you have the cycle, which is the 20K, which loops around the Argyle waterfall area and come back to Roxborough to Bloody Bay, and that's on the 30th. And this project was really initiated out of the ideas of the President Secretary when she worked, because she was an officer with us in the division. So when we did that in 2019, we had, during the work day, it was a work day, we had 162 or 63 persons participated. So the following year, we expected a bigger turnout, but then Mr. COVID came.
Yes.
And COVID crushed everything. So we are hoping for people to come out and participate. There's the theme for this year's International Day of the Forest is Forest and Health. There's a clear link between health of the forest and health of the people on the island. And also there's a clear link between recreation and health, basically. So forests provide a number of recreation opportunities. So we're really encouraging people to come out. I think thus far I have about maybe over 100 persons would have registered for the event, maybe 130 thereabout also. So we still want people to come out and register. You have group packages, I think 8 to 10 person, $100, 8 to 10 person, 150 a person. And we have a number of packages for people to come out. It's not too expensive. Come out and enjoy and walk through the reserve. There are a number of persons here in Tobago who have never been inside the forest reserve. Most people drive through. And if you feel the microclimate on the outside, on the road, you could think about what will happen on the inside. Have you ever been to the forest reserve?
I love it when when
else have you been there?
It's been a little while. I would have probably been in last year. I did it a lot during COVID.
Good.
When you just wanted to be outside, but you didn't want to be around many persons, so you head out on the roadways with the family and so on. But I love the temperature. Anybody here will tell you that kind of cool and so on. So that takes place when on Thursday the 30th?
On Thursday the 30th. That's the Spiritual Baptist Liberation Holiday. It's a holiday, so folks come out. You got your package already, Mr. Ski?
Not as yet. Not
so
as yet. So you see, you just got me.
Group prizes,
you just got me excited.
Yes. So come out.
For the benefit of our viewers and listeners, where can they connect to register or to get more information?
At the division, and also the reforestation will have the reforestation website.
All right. Okay, good. So they can connect with the division or the reforestation website, and we see the actual information is up on the annual cleanup campaign, and that's this morning. That would have started at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And there is also the opportunity for persons to participate in the Main Ridge Challenge, and that happens on next week, Thursday, the 30th of March.
So we want people to come up and register. This is guest say them anytime between 5:30 and 6 a.m. So we can start promptly by about 6:30, 6:45 and have the race off basically.
So you know when you mention secretary, let me call out Secretary Natisha Charles Pantin. When you mentioned she would have been instrumental even before becoming secretary. People are bringing out this idea. We can look forward to seeing Secretary Pantin as well. And Assistant Secretary Tate, I must put them on spot now.
Yeah, I think they will be there. I mean, I am hoping that they should have probably maybe have a nice little package for all the secretaries and administrators.
You have to call them out, you know. You have to call them out.
Give them what I call it bragging rights to successfully do the walk or half or walk or 5K or something, because you know we really need to be we socialize by eating a lot, harvest, birthday, liquor, birthday lime. So I am not a medical person, but hearing people are hypertension and diabetes are on the rise. So this is a form of recreate. You know, we need to come out and recreate some more, walk a bit more, walk in the forest, not just on the road, but walk. You know, and we really want to encourage our people to study park is our main landfill, utilize it. Sometimes people pay persons to carry debris to study park. They find study park too far, they drop it in Corlan, or they carry it down in Cove, or they carry it in remote places. So we really have to step up our game in terms of let's look out for our island. We have a tourism product here. We can't be littering all over the place and throwing garbage. Is not healthy. It's not good for our whole economic development. So you want people when you're passing through the rainforest, don't throw your litter out the window. Keep it in your car. You go home, you clean out your car. If you don't have the time to clean out your vehicle, pay a guy $50 to clean out your vehicle, or here look a grand train and clean out the vehicle rather than throwing it outside, because it all adds bad for our tourism sector. Because the Main Ridge people come here to see the Main Ridge Forest Reserve. That alone is a marketing tool, and it's linked to tourism basically, and we really need to protect it and protect our environment and conserve our environment as best as possible.
All right, thank you very much there, Darren Henry, Assistant Conservator of the Forest, really bringing us the information here this morning. Today is International Day of the Forest, folks, and just a reminder, the official annual cleanup would have started heading on into the Main Ridge from 6 a.m. this morning. And in addition to that activity happening today as part of the annual cleanup campaign, you also have the opportunity to register for the Main Ridge Challenge that takes place next week, Thursday. And they're certainly calling on each and every one of you to come out and to register to participate. Feel free to connect with the division located down there at Milshave. And you can also connect with them, whether it be via social media or so, to get additional information. Let's head on out. I like the idea that it's a twofold opportunity. You get to learn or to be reminded of something in relation to the Main Ridge if you haven't been there for a very long time. And you also get in the exercise while committing to this very good cause. All right, so thank you so much there for joining us on set and bringing this information. Viewers, we want to thank each and every one of you joining us via TV, those of you listening in on the radio this morning, and those of you joining us online. This is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. More, live more.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash in transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back. It is 7:37 a.m. this morning here on the Tobago Updates Morning Show, coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Viewers, at this point, we head on into our interview this morning with, we should have on the line, joining us online, Nikita Mohammed, Program Coordinator of the Spotlight Initiative. And that's a Spotlight Initiative happening here in Tobago and other parts in Trinidad as well. So it's Trinidad and Tobago. And we also have on with us, as I am seeing here, none other than Collis Hazel. And I know this is a man that wears many hats. So he will tell us in what capacity that he's also here this morning. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Right, good morning to you. Collis Hazel, hearing us loud and clear? All right, so we just probably have to double check there with Collis. Good morning to you, Nikita.
Good morning.
All right, so as we get started this morning, we're beginning the conversation in relation to you're the program coordinator of the Spotlight Initiative. So for those who are not familiar, I want you to start off by giving us a little summary in relation to what is the Spotlight Initiative.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you and to your listeners and viewers. The Spotlight Initiative is a global United Nations initiative with a very ambitious goal of ending violence against women and girls, ending gender-based violence. Here, Trinidad and Tobago is one of 6 Caribbean countries that has received funding from the program, and it's being implemented with very generous support from the European Union and, of course, in collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago government and civil society partners. The Spotlight Initiative launched in Trinidad and Tobago in early 2020, and we are now in our final year of implementation. And so we have a lot of ambitious goals to achieve before the end of this year and before the end of the program.
Collis Hazel, good morning to you, sir. So we still seem to be having a little challenge there. So Nikita, I want you to tell us a little further. You've said that this initiative would have started in which year?
It started early 2020 when we launched, when we received cabinet approval to implement the program.
What the progress has been, bearing in mind, the pandemic and other factors that would have taken place from that timing you're mentioning in terms of when it would have been started. Tell us, how has the impact and the efforts been thus far?
Well, I would say we've had a lot of support from working with government, working with our civil society partners. It has been an uphill battle and we've encountered many challenges. We started the program right when COVID hit us. And so we had to reprogram and rethink many of our objectives in light of the increased risk for victims by being forced to stay at home with their perpetrators and their abusers. I think we've achieved quite a bit in this last 3 years, and in our final year of implementation, we still have a number of goals that we want to accomplish. We've been working with our civil society partners, our government partners, through the United Nations to execute a number of programs, including having psychosocial counseling provided for over 1,000 persons, having prevention work, working with our men and boys, strengthening some of our policies and laws, working with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the judiciary, providing training to these essential actors, and strengthening the women's movement. So I think we have quite a lot that we can, proudly boast, despite the numerous challenges.
Regarding some of your primary target areas as this initiative is rolled out across Trinidad and Tobago.
So we actually are targeting our efforts at 3 main communities. So that's Tobago, Tunapuna, Piaku, and the Miaro Rio Claro Regional Corporation. And the reason for that is during the design phase of the program, we wanted to ensure that we tailored this global program to the very unique context of specific regions in Trinidad and Tobago. And we also wanted to ensure that we incorporated the key principle of the Spotlight Initiative, which is leaving no one behind. So ensuring that we were targeting the most underserved communities, the communities that tended to be the most marginalized, and that we were going to garner some of the lessons from focusing our efforts in these 3 areas so that we can actually have programs later on that would benefit the entire country. But there are many interventions under the very extensive program that are benefiting the entire country, which includes the work, as mentioned, with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, with the health sector, with the judiciary, and with various other state agencies.
These would be described as some of your major partners in this initiative for what you're striving to achieve.
We have numerous.
Go ahead.
Thank you. We have numerous partners, so state agencies, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, as mentioned, the judiciary, the Ministry of Health and the regional health authorities, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Social Development, Ministry of Planning. We've been working very, very closely with the women's movement, because of course it's the women's movement that has been advocating on this issue for so many years. And of course, working with our international development partners here in Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. One of the areas that we want to touch on, I see you have outlined here as part of your overall goals for the Spotlight Initiative, reducing family violence, ensuring integrated, quality and accessible services, and facilitate robust prevention approaches. Tell us a little bit about this specific in relation to the interventions here in Tobago.
Sure, thanks so much. So I would say, and it's unfortunate that Collis is not able to join us, but we've, one of the partners that has been such a firm supporter of the initiative is the Roxborough Police Youth Club. For instance, I'm here now in Tobago because we have been supporting the Roxborough Police Youth Club with a number of interventions. They've just launched their Project Tomorrow, which is focused on gathering data specifically from Tobago East on perceptions and attitudes around domestic violence, and then using that data to inform a training and sensitization program for men and boys in Tobago East, and then potentially getting these men and boys that have been trained to act as champions and advocates in their schools, eventually in their workplaces, and then in their wider communities, and of course in their homes. So that's just one intervention, and we are working across a number of different civil society actors, such as Roxborough, across the 3 communities. In Tobago, we have also been providing psychosocial services and counseling for survivors of violence, including for the migrant and refugee population. The migrant and refugee population also has access to a bilingual hotline that we have provided. We have been working with the Tobago House of Assembly and the Tobago Regional Health Authority to train social workers and healthcare workers to improve their quality of care for survivors that access the health sector. And we have been working very closely with the GBV unit as well as other units within the police to strengthen their services and to provide gender responsive policing. So a number of different interventions that have been taking place in Tobago, and we're hoping that by the end of the program, these actors can continue a number of their initiatives, even post-Spotlight.
How does the general public get involved, or others hearing of this Spotlight initiative and recognizing, hey, Roxborough Police Youth Club is on board? This sounds like a very good initiative, because we know Roxborough Police Youth Club is one of our youth organizations that really has a far and a wide reach in terms of making its contribution. How do others get involved who may be hearing of this, whether as individual citizens or other groups and organizations?
So I would say that it's not just the Roxborough Police Youth Club. We actually received recommendations from the Tobago House of Assembly for a number of different other youth groups and civil society groups in Tobago that really needed just some support to strengthen their operations. And so they're actually now involved in our capacity building program that has been running since 2021 and is now in phase 2. And so they're learning different tools and techniques, and such as, you know, recruiting volunteers to assist with their operations, managing their boards, developing project proposals, and learning from one another. So these groups, civil society groups, if they would like to learn more about the Spotlight Initiative and contact us, they can check out the website spotlightinitiative.org, and then visit the Trinidad and Tobago page. So that's the global page, and then Trinidad and Tobago has a specific sub page of that global website, and so they can check us out there. Please also feel free to visit UN Trinidad and Tobago on social media. That's on we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and they can learn more about the Spotlight Initiative and the different interventions that we have going on and how they can get involved.
Really sorry that we couldn't get Collis Hayes jumping in here in the mix. I know he would have been happy to share. We're going to try again. Collis Hayes, are you hearing us? Good morning. All right, no, we're still having some technical challenges out there. But just before we close off this morning's interview, any other key areas that you would like to highlight, Nikita Mohammed?
Sure. I just want to mention that, you know, at the end of this program, I've mentioned that this is a United Nations program with very generous support from the European Union. But at the end of the day, this is a national program at this point. This is 3 years into implementation. And this is now a Trinidad and Tobago program, and it represents the largest investment that we have ever received as a country to tackle family violence. So we really want to ensure that by the end of this, we have all hands on deck to continue to fight for this, because as we know, this is a long-term goal. At the end of the program, we're not necessarily going to have reduced levels of family violence, although that would have been a very ambitious goal to attain. So it really requires that, you know, building on the foundation that we have created, that the actors here on board, the women from the women's movement, from civil society, from government, state agencies, etc., will continue this this ambitious work.
All right. Thank you so much there. And remind us of contact information for the Spotlight Initiative, Nikita Mohammed.
Sure. So you can check out the website, spotlightinitiative.org. You can also reach out to me at my email address. That's nikita.mohammed@one.un.org. So persons can feel free to contact me if they would like to get access, for instance, to our newsletter. We publish a newsletter on a quarterly basis and share updates of our numerous interventions across the country. And then please feel free as well to check out our social media pages. That's UN Trinidad and Tobago on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Thank you so much there, Nikita Mohammed, Program Coordinator of the Spotlight Initiative, joining us here on set on the Tobago Updates morning show. All right, viewers, and as a reminder, we indicate that the Eco-Industrial Development Company of Tobago, EDICOT, wishes to advise the public of a full-scale emergency simulation exercise on Thursday, the 23rd of March, 2023, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 noon at the Cove Tobago Eco-Industrial Business Park Canopy Road, Lowlands, Tobago. So the EDCOT is reminding us of a full-scale emergency simulation exercise that takes place on Tuesday, the 23rd of March, 2023, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 noon at the Cove, Tobago, and that's a facility down there at Canopy Road in Lowlands, Tobago. So that's just a gentle reminder to each and every one of you, and that's going to be taking place on Tuesday of this week. And for those of you that tuned in a bit late this morning, we want to remind you certainly that the Tobago updates, we are all for, and let me put it this way, we are not about censorship at all. And those are for the message for persons who have been inquiring in relation to Friday's live. Just as an indication, a reminder to persons, as we mentioned earlier, that the live would have been blocked and certainly it's not accessible on the basis of Facebook for copyright reasons. Tobago Updates is certainly not about censorship, and we have submitted a dispute, and we are looking forward to a resolution to allow you, our loyal viewers, to continue to have access to all our information and material and content that's out there. So for those of you worried about the fact, why would they have removed the live? I want to go back and see it. I want to get all the comments. I want to see the details. We are giving you a gentle reminder because we've been getting messages as well as calls are coming in, asking consistently. So we're just advising all our viewers, as soon as the matter is resolved, we look forward to having it available once again for the benefit of all. So we thank you so much for the continued love and support. I see joining us here on the live this morning, Julia Brown, Heather Cook, Godfrey, Auntie Dora out there, Daniel, Biana, Donil, Listra in the mix this morning. Auntie Dornet connected with us. Yes, Rhea on the live. Morning to you. Rhea Richardson, George. I also see Rhea Orr. And I almost went on there with that name, but I'll behave on air this morning, Rhea Orr. All right, Pearl Murray Baird, Cleon McPherson, Liesel James, QQ Melville. We want to say morning to each and every one of you. And to thank you so much, folks. All of you are at home, those of you tuned in via TV, those of you listening in on the radio, and those of you on your various devices. We want to thank you consistently and continually for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show, and to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Tobago, it's time to go. Sweet like
Tobago, here's the real deal. Nothing sweeter than when your internet fast all day, every day. I telling you, it's real nice when your home internet and TV package fit your budget. Well, if that's what you want, you're safe with Digicel Plus. Sign up or switch to Digicel Plus now and pay $0 for 1 month. Plus, plans start as low as $199 and you get installed for free. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store now.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. It is 7:55 a.m. and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, viewers, as we head on into this segment, this morning. We are recognizing and acknowledging today World Down Syndrome Day, where we seek to bring that education, that awareness, and to heighten it in many ways, forms, and fashion. And chatting with us this morning as we speak World Down Syndrome Day 2023, we get a parent's perspective, and we have on set with us this morning Desmond Woods. And I know Rhea is wherever she is, hyped and energized as best as she can be with the energy for you being on set with us here this morning. Good morning to you.
Morning.
All right, so as we get the conversation started, we want to get first and foremost, from your perspective as a parent, how would you, in terms of looking at the experience as a dad and as a father with a child with Down syndrome?
Well, there has been challenges, but with those challenges, there are rewards. Children with Down syndrome are very, very loving, so there's never a shortage of love from Gabrielle, and the challenges are overshadowed by the rewards that are gotten from the love given from children with Down syndrome. So it's a balance.
Would you say that as as a parent, naturally it has allowed you to be to take an even more keen interest? As parents, naturally we do that, but sometimes we go to that extent, and children remind us as they get older, because we're still in parent mode, trying to do everything, making sure this is secure and so on. Would you say that has gained that, put you in a position where you have gained an even more key interest in all aspects, possibly sometimes going a little too extra, not allowing that child to develop those skills on their own? Tell us a little bit about that.
Especially with fathers and girl children, we tend to be very protective. But ideally, we want what's best for her, and ideally, we want her to get to the stage where she's as independent as possible. So she will need us less and less. So that's the goal.
All right. You would, as you mentioned, in terms of your daughter, when you first found out, tell us a little bit about, what were your initial thoughts? How were you feeling then, as parents now getting this kind of information? Was it something you were already knowledgeable about, or you had to learn along the way? What was the experience like?
Yeah, it was a shock, and we would have had to do our research along the way to find out as much as possible on what should be done, what type of medical issues she might have, and different issues that we'll have to deal with along the way. So it's a learning process for us.
I want you to share, for the benefit of our viewers, people seem to think children who have Down syndrome or affected in any way, form, or fashion are so different. Tell us a little bit about those, school life, friends, hobbies. Does it really vary that much? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, the experiences are pretty similar. It's just that they don't learn as fast. But everything else is pretty similar. So they would be able to access everything that normal children can do. It's just that mentally they are a little slower. But physically, they are pretty much the same. So we try to expose her to everything that we expose a normal child to because you have to be able, because there are certain things that she's better at. So in order to find out what she's better at, you have to expose her to everything that a normal child will be exposed to. So initially, we tried to get her she got into nursery school. And we got her to the stage at 5 years old where she could get into a primary school. So the requirements for a primary school, you have to know your numbers, you have to know your letters, the letter songs. So at 5 years old, she could do all of that. So she was able to access normal primary school. But as time went along, we realized she wasn't able to keep up. And that's why she's now at Mighty Minds Inclusive Learning Center in Signal Hill, a specialized school, to be able to assist her in her academics. And just like a normal child, she has friends. I could mention Tikaya at school, which she talks about every day. And she's into gymnastics, she's into dance. She loves, well, like most children, she loves the TikTok. She always wants to do videos. So we try to expose her as much as possible and see what she's good at so we can direct her in the right direction.
So you sound like just in my household where you have to remind them, you can't use everywhere in the house. This is still my private space. I could be walking into a video. So you have to give them that kind of direction from time to time.
You have the restriction.
Yes.
And just like a normal child, there are certain days where you can't use the tablet.
Yes.
You have to restrict them, cut them off. You can't be on it all day. Things like so. It's pretty much the same. It's just that it's a little slower.
So I know that Rhea would have had conversations with you in the past, and you seem to be, you all seem to be parents that kind of have a real grip on this, managing your professional lives, managing the home. And yes, it may come with its challenges, but what's your advice for other parents out there who are probably now going through this, still not yet at a settled point? I don't know if you have any, I know there's no book that can just say these are the do's and the don'ts, but what's your general advice, especially parents who are new to this and feeling like, oh my God, I don't know where to turn, I don't know what to do, I don't know how I'm going to survive this, Lord?
Yeah, you have to lean on the Almighty, continue to have faith in God that He will direct you, as well as leaning on other parents who would have gone through this before. Listen to them, talk to them, the experience they would have had, and do your research. We have information at our fingertips now. You could just Google everything. So go to the internet, find out as much information as possible, and lean on the Almighty, and create a support group. So we have gotten a lot of support from friends, from the church, from co-workers. We're not perfect.
Yes.
We would make mistakes, but continue to lean on your support system for help, and by the grace of God, you'll be able to succeed.
How do you manage it all? I know you're also actively involved in school, PTA in the mix, and if you connected with a particular school with Principal Devine, she doesn't allow you to not be involved. But how do you get that balance in between, that work life, family life, still being very much an active parent, there at the forefront in the mixed church, connecting it all?
Just like everything else, you can't find time, you have to make time. So there are sacrifices that would have to be made. There are things that you wouldn't be able to do at that point in time to make room for other activities. So it's a balance between my wife and I. We try our best, and our relatives and friends, we try our best to balance and move forward.
All right. As we wind down with this interview, what are your expectations? And I want to say kudos indeed. The life out there, and very often we take it for granted in terms of, as parents, and very often the story you are sharing with us, you might have just heard a mom coming to talk about it. And we're very happy to have you as dad speaking to that important connection, yourself, your wife, in terms of really driving that home and playing your part in the process as well. What are your expectations for the future, regarding your daughter at this point?
Yeah, Julian, we've had to manage our expectations. We have to be realistic about it, but initially, I didn't think my daughter would ever be able to read and write, and she's doing that now. So I am aiming for the stars. As I said earlier, we're trying to get her to the place where she can be as independent as possible. So getting her to be able to do all the basics, and then with time, she might be able to secure a job. She might even be able to move out by the grace of God.
Yes.
And live on her own. So
those parental dreams.
Just trying to get her to that point where she can be as autonomous as possible and take care of herself, and the sky's the limit.
All right. What kind of supports do you believe the broader community, society, governance, what kind of supports or additional supports do you believe can be played to help persons who, in terms of living with Down syndrome, to be able to better thrive within our environment?
Well, we're continuously fighting for inclusivity. So, for example, in the education system, including them in normal schooling. But to do that, there will be need for extra support. So the children would need to have individual teachers assigned to them to be able to go through the primary school system. So, for example, in Trinidad, there are parents who sit in the primary school with their children with Down syndrome to be able to support them. And we have gotten to the stage where next year, a young lady with Down syndrome will be doing SEA. So there are possibilities. You just have to make the adjustments, put in the necessary support to get the children through academically.
Would you say that other parents, looking at the community side of things now, because as I made mention to you before we got into this interview, and I spoke about it earlier, I was happy to hear my child getting that level of awareness within the school system, and to recognize that we all have our shortcomings. We all have challenges that we face, but we still got to take on life and to face it head on. How important is that in the process? So I'm not just talking about what the system provides, but even parents seeking to reinforce that with their children in the school system.
Yeah, we have to get the information out there, make the awareness possible, so children, so parents, other parents with children with Down syndrome will know what can be done. So we have to continuously advocate for them, continuously get that information out to educate parents and let them know that the sky is the limit, and we have to encourage them to come into these support groups. We have the Down Syndrome Family Network has a national WhatsApp chat. So we hear all the experiences from all the parents throughout Trinidad and Tobago. So as a parent, get involved, get into the groups with other parents, and don't only what's the word? Pigeonhole your children to groups with children with Down syndrome. Continually expose them to groups with normal children, so they will be able to see what normal children do, to be able to
in terms of exposing them.
Yeah, get the exposure to with normal children, so they will be able to achieve. May not be as fast, but the achievement is possible.
All right. And as we wrap this morning, you mentioned a good point there in terms of the network. How can persons access that for those who probably were not even aware it's as accessible or reaching out? Social media, what's the access to be able to connect with the network?
Call any of the parents. Call Mrs. Alexander at Mighty Minds. You can call me, 7649177. Just make the link with other parents, and it's easy to get involved.
Your words in closing this morning to each and everyone out there today on World Down Syndrome Day 2023, the awareness.
Yeah, our tagline for this year is with us, not for us. So we have to get past treating children with Down syndrome like charity and get involved, ask them what they want, and help them to do. We have to do things with them and not for them. Help them to be autonomous, help them to be independent, and be able to act independently. So no more charity, with us, not for us.
Excellent. Thank you very much there, Desmond Woods, parent, Down Syndrome Awareness Advocate, and speaking to us here today on World Down Syndrome Day 2023. Thank you so much for joining us here on set. Viewers, we've come to that time where we're looking to wrap up the Tobago Updates morning show. And we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support and for choosing us each and every day. And we also want to remind you, tomorrow we are heading straight on in. Tomorrow's execution of the Tobago Updates morning show is our Youth Wednesday. So we look forward to those upcoming discussions tomorrow. But we aren't asking you to head out. We are heading out from the Tobago Updates morning show, and we are heading straight on over to Good Morning Tobago GMT with Chanel. So take care and bye for now, folks.
THA is preparing for the implementation of the National Policy on Sexual Harassment in the Workplace. In doing so, HR managers, officers, and supervisors from both the public and private sectors participating in a seminar hosted by the Department of Labor.
Public-private partnerships has to be established to build capacity and increase resources, especially when considering how diverse the island of Tobago has now become. This partnership plays a pivotal role in generating, transferring knowledge to all people, employees, employers, and students.
By the time we get to 18, 20, 30, 40, 50, it is even more difficult to understand that consent is something that can be given, and consent is something that can be taken away, even in the midst of it.
We have had all of this in it females usually sexually harass men, and you know we all laugh about it. I experienced that on one of my workplaces. If you're having a consensual relationship and somebody broke it off, you cannot now come and claim that the person sexually harassed you, because it was welcome and it was reciprocated. So it's not sexual harassment. When the act is assented to, there will be some definite responsibilities that the employer will be mandated to do within a specified time frame, right? So you have to formulate a written policy statement against sexual harassment within the workplace. Bring the policy statement to the attention of every member of staff.
The seminar was hosted at the Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, you know, whenever you see me sitting here, we're going to have those conversations to get your morning started. And we're asking the questions that you want to know. Now, this morning, we're going to kickstart with the new introduction of digital financial technology being introduced through HDC. And this morning, I have joining with me our guests here that are representing the HDC, and they are joining me online this morning. Good morning to my guest. I have I'm supposed to have online with me actually Mr. Jerome Campbell, who is from the Divisional Management Cooperative Services of HDC, and Mr. Atiba Pierre, who is the business analyst at HDC. So we're going to have them joining us as soon as possible, as soon as we can get them online. We're going to be talking about the new introduction of digital financial technology that allows persons residents of the HDC project to be able to pay online. Finally, we have a cashless initiative here in one of our government organizations. Now, we know that when we talk about digital transformation and digital innovation, these are conversations that have been happening for a long time. We've been talking about moving towards a cashless society, and this is just one of those initiatives that help us move further into that direction. Good morning, sir, and how are you?
I'm fine. Morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. Good morning. So tell the people more about this new initiative. We know that financial technology is a big thing happening globally right now. And as we move towards a cashless society, we are trying to move in an area that makes online payments easier for everyone. So talk to us a bit about this new initiative by the HDC.
Okay, so basically the goal of this initiative is to make it easier for customers to pay the HDC. What we are trying to do is to demystify the way in which customers do business with the HDC. So over the past couple of months, we would have put a system in place whereby we would have looked at our target market, see exactly what challenges they would have had in paying the HDC, and then we would have come up with a package on a new way forward as to how customers could pay. So we would have partnered with TSCT and the other partners to allow us to bring this ease of payment to the HDC.
Right, and one of the things that you guys highlighted is the fact that you know that there are a number of homeowners that have HDC homes that are not necessarily located here in Trinidad and Tobago, or even family members that are abroad that often assist with these monthly payments. Mr. Atiba, talk to us a bit about some of the thought patterns that went behind getting this initiative into play right now.
Yes, good morning to you once again and to your listeners. Well, as Mr. Campbell would have said earlier, the major driving thought factor is the ease of doing business with the HDC. So what we want to ensure is that people not just find it easy, but find it convenient to do business, whether you're here in Trinidad and Tobago or if you are away. I heard you mention just now that people having property interest from outside of Trinidad and Tobago could also access our platform. And it is true, there is a connection, and there have been connections made for people to access via Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, and these other forms of payment. So we are trying to target the diaspora as well.
Excellent. And so I want to talk about moving forward. How is the introduction of technology into the HDC's overall operation going to be improving? What can we look forward to in the future? Now, we have the online payments, but what about requests for maintenance? What about updates on what's happening in areas near you? Based on your current website, how are you planning to improve those things moving forward?
So I could take part of it basically, and I can take the other part. So we have a lot of internal systems that allow us to track when persons make complaints, and we have a similar system that tracks all the work orders that are being done by the estate management department. We understand that customers have a lot of concerns with repairs within the community and within their units, but the two are linked. Once persons make their payments to the HDC is now in a financial position to fix and address all those issues. The two are not separate from each other. So that's why these type of initiatives need to be joined, in that once we make it easier for customers to pay and customers pay us, then it's easier for us to put systems in place and have the revenue and the cash flow to move a bit quicker to address the remediation issues that the customers may have.
Do you guys currently have an HDC app?
So actually, that's a good question. That's something that actually Atiba and I are working on. We currently have a rollout that we are looking at in the next couple of months. But all these things, more ways to pay, the halves launch that we had last year, where persons could have checked the application, update the system. All these things will be on the App Store, and persons on Android or iPhone would be able to access those things very shortly.
Because we know outside of Trinidad and Tobago, there are a number of housing corporations that do have those type of apps, you know, that allow for things like when persons lose their keys, they can make a request for an extra pair of keys. They can see what's happening in the building, giving them notifications that a particular entry might be blocked for the next 2 to 3 days, whatever that might be. Also giving them updates on the status of their contract, you know, updates that their payments have been late. So I think that when we think about digitalization and technology and including that into housing, these are some things that have been done outside already. There's no real need to reinvent the wheel. We can definitely look into in how we improve our operations locally. Moving forward, you know, I have to be the devil's advocate here. And on behalf of the HDC residents in the different communities, persons might be saying, okay, well, you guys are investing all of this money into this technology, but what is happening with the infrastructural development? Are you guys focusing on one area while resenting or calls for fixes in the basic infrastructural needs that these persons are dealing with on a daily basis?
No. We can walk and chew at the same time. So doing this initiative with technology isn't stopping us from the other aspects, the core aspects of the HDC, which is to provide housing for citizenry. Now, the issue is, though, like I said before, the two are linked. What we have seen based on data, and this is based on data and perception as well, persons believe when they get an HDC home, they don't have to pay. Now, if you don't pay for the asset that you own, obviously the asset will fall into disrepair regardless of what the landlord does. So what we are trying to do is to hold the customers accountable. You need to pay the HDC similar to how you pay your light bill, your WASA, for your TV. Once you get into that momentum and we make it easy for you to pay, that revenue will allow us to ensure that we can reinvest that income into developing these sites to improve play parks, improve the infrastructure, as you said. Because at the end of the day, we need money to do things. And we want to make sure that historically customers had to come to the agency to pay. They would have to come into the physical offices. Now, some persons, although there's the technology, may still want to come in, which is fine. But we want to make it as easy as possible to pay the agency so that we could use those funds to make the communities better. But we are doing both at the same time. Technology and the infrastructure works. Those are being done simultaneously.
Okay, Mr. Atiba, I see you guys also indicated that you would be doing a public awareness and education drive to really educate residents on how to utilize this platform. Tell us a bit about what residents can look forward to within the upcoming weeks concerning the new technology.
Of course. Now, as you mentioned, yes, we are planning to do public awareness, and we feel that this is very necessary because, as you would know, the HGC has had, we have developments in different areas in Trinidad, all over Trinidad, from the rural areas coming to the commercial business districts and everywhere in between. So, the awareness campaign would really target these customers, especially those who are in the rural areas, especially those who may find difficulty to come to, centralized locations to pay. So what we want to do is have things like caravans, going out to meet people where they are, as opposed to you coming to meet us. All right. So it will create a more decentralized approach toward operation. So we want to meet you where you are, not just sensitize you, not just give you the information, but we also want to give you the opportunity to pay on spot. So we will put infrastructure in place to allow you to honor your obligations to the HDC where you are.
Excellent. And so I know you guys cannot speak on the behalf of the central government because a lot of what you're doing is concentrated towards housing and the HDC. But what are your predictions in regards to this level of technology being utilized in other sectors and in other industries and within other government organizations?
So we are the first. I'm very happy to say that, and we believe a lot of the initiatives that we are going to put in place based on the instructions of the board and the managing director will keep us as being one of the first state enterprises to utilize technology. What we are hoping, though, is that we are able to bridge that gap in the perception that public sector moves slowly, or we are slow to adapt to change. Our line of business is connected to WASA, is connected to TNTech, is connected to a lot of different businesses. And all these businesses holistically operate within the same ecosystem. So the hope, though, is that this technology will allow all the other branches and facets that affect housing to coincide in a way where it's easier for the customer to pay WASA, pay TNTech, pay HDC, get information on their accounts, find out when they need to renew their contract. We're hoping that this initiative allows the HDC and other state agencies to move in a more future-centered approach. Because housing is not just we get a house and you move in. There's a lot of different moving parts that affect a homeowner, and we're hoping that this is a move in the right direction.
And so in the general sense of what is being provided here for the viewers that may have just joined us, the HDC is now providing digitalized technology that allows for residents to be able to pay their bills online, pay digitally. Can you reiterate some of the payment platforms that are integrated into this digital payment system?
Okay, sure. Now, firstly, I want to give people a quick walkthrough of how to access this. All right. The existing HGC site is www.hdc.gov.tt. Once you go on to that site, which is existing and up and running, it's functional and fully operational right now. But the latest addition is the More Ways to Pay campaign, which is what we're speaking about right now. There's a main banner. You look for More Ways to Pay. You click More Ways to Pay, and it will take you to the portal that allows you to pay. That portal will extract the necessary information from you, like your name, your account number, telephone number, email address, and so forth, and then you would be allowed to pay. The payment can take place in different forms. You can pay via your credit card. There's also the option to pay via your debit card facility once it's a chipped card. We also attack the diaspora. We also reach out to you so you can pay from international spaces on your property interests right here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Excellent, excellent. And as you said, we can look forward to more public awareness and education related campaigns. Now, as we wrap up this interview, is there anything that you guys want to leave with the residents of the HDC projects, just Trinidad and Tobago on a whole, in regards to this new level of technology and what we can be looking forward to with HDC's improvements in the future?
I will just touch on two main things. One, please honor your commitment in making that payment to the HDC, whether you're on a licensed occupier, rental, or rent-own. your payment obviously allows the agency to conduct its business, and it basically would not put you in a situation where we would need to come knocking. In addition to that, if you see something, say something. There are a lot of persons who illegally occupy our premises, a lot of persons who would contact someone who says they work in agency, who is not an agency employee, and pay that person for money. We are saying that those things are illegal. There are only certain ways to pay the agency, more ways to pay campaigners. One, you need to come into the agency's office and make payments. So we just want to ensure that the customers understand that we are working with you to make your life easier, but there are certain things we need you to do as well. Pay the agency on time, and if you see something, say something. If it's an illegal occupant, illegal occupancy, or persons who are engaging in fraudulent activities, contact us and we will take the necessary action.
Excellent. And you said that we can possibly look forward to seeing an HDC app sometime soon in the future. Is that
very soon?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to that, and hopefully when that is being rolled out, you come back here to Tobago Updates to give us a bit of a demo on that app. So guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Tobago Updates, #1 broadcasting station on the island of Tobago. And it's always a pleasure to have you, and it's always great when you see the need to come to Tobago and let them know exactly what is happening and what the future of HDC and many other government organizations are looking like. So guys, thank you. And again, I look forward to seeing you in the future very soon. So we're going to go to a quick break, and we're going to come back with a lot more conversations to get your morning started. See you guys right after this break.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house gets flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning again, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, you know, the conversation always gets pretty juicy when we're here on a morning. And this morning is one like no other. This morning, I have the privilege of speaking again with someone who's quite familiar to this set. We have Assemblyman Terence Baines, also known as Bishop Terry Baines, and he is also the Secretary for the Division of Community Development, Youth Development, and Sport. And this morning, we're going to be chatting a little bit about the realities of being an area representative. Now, recently, if you guys have been following him on social media, you would have seen that he took to his Facebook page sometime over the weekend, where he expressed some of the stresses, the perils, and the realities that it takes to be a assemblyman and an area representative with the responsibility of developing a community. Good morning, sir, and how are you doing?
Good morning. I am fine, and good morning to all the viewers, and thank you for having me.
Good morning. I don't want you to be despondent at all, you know, because we're going to have a very fruitful discussion this morning.
I'm not at all.
And it's very important for people to understand the reality behind the pen and behind the ceremonies and behind the trips and behind all the public photos and everything that is being seen, that they can see. There's a lot more that goes behind that. Yes. So what would have prompted you to really decide that you wanted to let people know that it isn't all glitz and glamour and it is harder than it looks?
I was listening to the Honorable Tevin Andrews, who is an MP in the Grenada Parliament with responsibility for Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and also local government. And he was on one of his morning walks, and he did this live talking to his constituents and so on, and just, it was not a complaining live, it was more an edification live, you know. And as I listened to him, I felt that most of the things that he was talking about, there were things that were endemic to me and to a lot of us, and perhaps to the average area representative. And it inspired me, in all honesty. I was encouraged, and it inspired me to do a live of my own. I want to say from the very onset that my live was not intended to be as a complaint. I see some people on social media saying I have been crying on social media and begging and written. Nothing could be further from the truth. I am not frustrated to the place of giving up either. And I think opinions are like noses. Everybody has one. So people will assess what you do for different reasons, and they will come to their conclusion. But suffice it to say that the intent of the live really was for edification purposes.
Right, and there are many persons that may say, didn't you see it as being sufficient maybe just to share his life and just express how you can relate, as opposed to you doing your own life to express your own situation, because of the fact that the political situation in Tobago is quite different from that of Grenada, especially seeing that we just came out of a 21-year reign of the previous administration, and that the expectations that were placed on the people of Tobago in regards to the type of change, what your administration had called fixing it, is totally different from the expectations of the persons in Grenada. Can you respond to that?
Well, the thing is, I mean, that can be a perspective, and I don't have a problem with persons who may have that perspective. However, I felt that the issues that he was raising were common to all area reps, you understand, and applicable to our situation. He was doing that on a more personal note, in the sense that he was talking to his constituency. And I felt, because of some of the dynamics of what we are treating with at this particular point in time, that there was credence in doing one like that, so that people in the Bethel New Grange constituency can have a better appreciation for this vocation, and by extension in our context. So I didn't think that there was any injury there. You know, and like I said, it must be made abundantly clear that the intent of this is for edification purposes.
But we understand the philosophy of the average person, which is that persons judge us on our action and the result as opposed to our intention. And so then this brings into question, as an independent right now, because this is how you guys stand, you guys are independent. Do you see yourself as being a part of a whole body, or do you really see yourself as an individual area representative?
Yeah, we are a whole group of independents. That's
right. And so then the question is, did you receive buy-in from your colleagues to go ahead and do a live like this? And do you think that they support the move that you made to do this live over the weekend?
Well, I mean, as an area representative and so on, I don't know that you have to, get approval from everybody to do a live.
Right.
It will be expected that you will be responsible as an area representative. So if you decide to do something like that, that the intent of the live is not going to run afoul with the philosophy of the team. You understand? I think all of us understand that. And so the issues raised in the live are issues that are endemic to all of us. You understand? And more importantly, trying to treat with the expectations of the population. None of us are trying to get away from that. We know that the expectations are very high. That is manifested in the community visits that we are doing, the community meetings and so on. We see people coming and that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with you expressing your desire and needs and so on. I think the issue of the timelines of getting the problems solved, the expectations and so on, sometimes it can be unreasonable. You understand?
Right.
Within the timeline that we are in the office. And of course, there are people who have different views and so on. And people think that they have a stake in this. And they figure that the kind of messaging that came from the team during the campaign and so on, people feel like, okay, we should have gotten this by now, and I should have been working by now. I should have gotten something from settlements. I should have gotten my road fixed and all those kinds of things. So we are managing a whole island, attempting to manage a whole island and so on, and trying to treat with the different needs and concerns and so on, to the best of our ability within the resource environment that we are functioning.
Right, and then, so my follow-up question would be to you is, do you guys have any type of PR support? Because in a situation like this, we would think that there is some level of strategy behind any type of public utterances or appearances that are made. And in a situation like this, a PR professional would be able to say, okay, this is the message that you're trying to get out there, but this is also how it can be interpreted. So because of that, this may be a better approach to take to get that message across, as opposed to coming across in a way that could be interpreted as you complaining or you crying, as many persons would have said on social media.
Remember I said that is a point of view, and I don't know that the individuals who say that are in the majority. That's the first thing.
But I'm asking, is there PR support that you can tap into before you go ahead and publicly make utterances
what I'm saying to you is that I did not think that particular live required those parameters. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
right?
And now when you see the type of response, public response or backlash that came from
No, there's no backlash.
Okay.
There's no backlash. And I want to make it very clear. We must not interpret, because people will have different views. You post the nicest thing you could post. There are some persons that may have a personal problem with you as an individual. So no matter how excellent your post is, you will get some negative people. That is Facebook. Yeah, this is social media. There are some people, they are cowards. They don't have the constitution to tell you things to your face, so they will take to Facebook where there's no responsibility. They could see what they want. You understand what I'm saying? So I do not see the live thing. I was just saying that certain people express those opinions. I think that in essence, the intent of the live was realized so that people could have a better appreciation. You understand? So I don't feel that I have run afoul with the public with the live at all.
Okay. And looking back at it, what would you say to your own colleagues that are a group of independents who might say, sorry, speak for yourself. I knew what I signed up for. I knew that this would be a difficult task at hand, but although you said this is something that kind of represents what we're all facing, speak for yourself, because my situation is quite different.
Well, I don't think that is applicable in this situation. I really don't think so, because I was very careful to treat with matters that are endemic to us all. To the average area representative, in fact, let me put it that way, to the average area, anywhere as a matter of fact. You understand? Those were the issues that I was trying to address. I mean, one cannot, of course, unilaterally, because there are exceptions to every rule, you know, and I think that is understandable. But there are some matters that all of us as area reps and so on have to contend with, whether you're in government, you're in opposition, or wherever, or independent. You understand? There are some matters, because the people that vote for you and so on have certain expectations, you know. But there's also the responsibility, the mutual respect that is supposed to exist between the area rep and the people that they serve and so on. And sometimes those lines get very blurred. And there is need for an explanation of things, or perhaps even a sensitizing of people to those things. You see?
Excellent. And so for some of the persons who may not have watched the live, you would have expressed some of those issues as being the inability to deliver some of the expectations of the people within a particular time frame. As you said, people are expecting that they would have gotten jobs. Persons are expecting that some persons who would have continuously been getting contracts before that the procurement would have been opened up in such a way to allow for new businesses to have opportunities, and a number of other things that continue to be pressing issues within the space whereby expectations are concerned. And so you were saying that there are a number of things that prohibit you guys from being able to deliver on that level. Talk about some of the other realities that you would have highlighted for people who didn't watch the live.
So one of the main issues really was the issue of employment and how many persons can be employed reasonably, you know, in a given timeline. We know employment is an issue in Tobago, not just Tobago, but in other jurisdictions. But we understand COVID has happened, and we are still reeling from the fallout of COVID. There were a lot of persons that were either unemployed or underemployed prior to COVID. So COVID came and exacerbated that problem. Okay, so you come now as a group of people vying to move into the corridors of power, and from your perspective, you intend to try and create a better environment for people to thrive, right? I cannot remember at all, although people are saying that, I cannot remember any commitment to employ the whole of Tobago. Nobody in their right mind will make that kind of commitment, nor did this administration do, you understand? But our commitment was to create the environment. And we have to, of course, make employment become a reality for some. All of us understand that. But I think that we didn't have a crystal ball to see the magnitude of the unemployed masses. That's one. We didn't have any scientific data to say, well, you know, from age 20 to 30, how many persons are unemployed, male, female ratio, and so on. But we knew that that was there. So since we came into the corridors of power, we've been doing the best that we could to try and employ as many people. And then we have to assess the needs, because there are some people that are in a much more grievous need than others. There are some people that are working already and they just want a different work. There are some people, there are some of the social support systems that are put in place are ideally put there for people that need that support. But there are some people that don't have that kind of need but find themselves in that program. So it clogs up the thing, and the people that really need the service can't get it. So we have to try and do our best to optimize these platforms, and so that we can deliver to the best of our ability.
And do you think that you guys are being judged a bit unfairly compared to the previous administration, seeing that you have only been in the power for a year and a couple months?
I believe so. I believe so.
But why do you think that is?
Well, you know, I think sometimes the goodwill everybody don't manage goodwill well. You understand what I'm saying? And I say that, mind you, I am not at all suggesting that there is devilry in the expectation of people. You understand? I'm not saying that at all. But you know, when you're outside trying to come into government, you may not have all the information of all the intricacies of resource and what is available to carry out the governance. You understand? And as you get there, you know, you use all your expertise to manage the resource that is there, and you try to equitably, you know, deliver services to everybody. You understand? And I think there are some things that we are working on now, and in the next ensuing week or two and so on, there will be a rollout or something that will bring some additional support. What we are doing in the various divisions, we are going through and see where there are employment opportunity. We are trying to go from division to division and do that. I think one of the accentuated things too is that there's been some employment in the division of health over the last few weeks, and persons were brought in and certified and all of that. But the rollout, health in their wisdom, did not feel it was manageable. It was ideal, let me put it that way, to bring in all the workers at the same time. They decided that they will kind of straddle the time. So they would have, let us say they took in 50 last month, whenever, and 2 weeks later they took another 50. So people are thinking that they took 50 and they're taking new people and how they're not calling me. But these people would have already been certified. You understand? And somebody has been telling them that they need to call the area representative. The area representative will recommend and so on. So people are calling the area and think that the area representative doesn't care about them. How come their name are not on a list? Because new people have been coming, and that is far from the truth. You understand? And I think that kind of information is important for the public to have. Suffice it to say that we are doing everything in our power to find job opportunities for persons that are qualified. But there's a significant percentage of persons who do not necessarily have some of the qualifications for some of the other types of jobs. So the daily paid works, like the early morning thing, that is an issue that we are trying to treat it. And we understand a significant percentage of that are women who are single mothers and have 2 and 3 children and so on. And that is another social issue that we have to tackle, how it is that we have so many women that are testifying that they are on their own taking care of these children. Them children have some father somewhere.
Yes. But in addition to that, you have, expressed the fact that the expectations, how are you managing then the public perception of everything that you just spoke about as being some of the reasons behind, and some of the things that you guys are actually doing behind the scenes that people may not know? How are you managing the public perception, and what is the means of communicating with the residents within your district? Because a lot of persons may have been complaining that accessibility to the representatives, or even just being able to have that conversation with them, just for you to explain, just as you just explained here, might help to quell the situation a bit.
Well, I mean, I think the average representative is accessible. We have our public days where we meet with the population. Most of us have an open door policy, whether it's at your constituency office or even in the division that you work, and so on. I think we are trying for the population to have an appreciation as well. If your area rep is a secretary as well, that is a tremendous amount of added responsibility, where you have responsibility for the entire island. You understand? And each area rep has to now manage that responsibility to the best of his or her ability. We have in the various divisions the communication units and so on that help to get the message out of what we're doing. If we are guilty, it may be that we have not promoted and publicize some of the things that we are doing enough. And we have had that conversation, and we understand that we need to make better on that. You understand? So I feel like whatever is the platform that an area rep uses to honestly have a conversation with his constituents is something that has to be welcomed.
Understood. But we're going to take a little bit of a turn here. Recently, you went to Jamaica with a contingent of other representatives.
Yes.
Tell us about that trip.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get into that particular conversation yet, because I will have to come back to deal with that, because for that conversation to be effective, we have to bring some images and some videos and so on that are still being prepared. And I promise you though, that we will.
But can you give us an indication of the reasoning behind that trip? Why were you in Jamaica?
Well, since we had a plan, since last year, the trip for us at Community Development was since last year we were planning to go, because we have a responsibility given by the executive to build out the community development financing program. And so we wanted to get as much information about that, and we were told that Jamaica has a pretty decent system that they run, and it was important to go and see that. And some other things that they were doing that would assist and support the work that community development is doing.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to continue the conversation here with Area Representative Terrence Baines. Guys, see you soon right after this break.
60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones.
Tobago, it's time to go. Sweet like Tobago.
Tobago, here's the real deal. Nothing sweeter than when your internet fast all day, every day. I telling you, it's real nice when your home internet and TV package fit your budget. Well, if that's what you want, you're safe with Digicel Plus. Sign up or switch to Digicel Plus now and pay $0 for 1 month. Plus, plans start as low as $199 and you get installed for free. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store now.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. And guys, if you're now joining us, I'm so sorry that you missed an entire first half of my conversation here with Area Representative Assemblyman Terrence Baines. We have been speaking about some of the realities that it takes behind being an assemblyman, behind being an area representative. You know, some of the challenges that they often face with trying to deliver to members of their constituents. You know, sometimes you see the glitz and the glam and everything looks so shiny on the outside, but there is a lot that goes into it behind the scenes, as he has expressed, especially coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic and coming out of a season where we had a previous administration that was in power for 21 years and trying to manage the expectations of the persons who are expecting rapid change. Now, we spoke extensively about that, but as we wrap up here this morning in our conversation, we're going to talk a little bit about what you're doing at the level of the Division of Community Development. And the conversation is going to continue right here on Tobago Updates tomorrow.
Yes.
But you guys have initiated a Tobago Road Market Experience. So just tell us a little bit about that and what we can expect from that.
Right. Just in general conversation, the road market experience 7. This is something that we met when we came into office. That the division has been doing an exceptionally good idea, taking the road market to several different communities. This Friday we are in Charlottesville, and of course I want to personally extend an invitation to all those of you who live in the east, west, north, south, and wherever you're coming from, that Charlottesville is the place to be on this Friday for the Road Market 7. And tomorrow, some of the technocrats will be here on set to give more extensive information. But suffice it to say, it is one of those situations where we try to highlight our local entrepreneurs. It's been a fantastic experience. My first experience was the one we had in Castara, and it promises to be bigger and better. So we want the entire Tobago who can make it. We are in Charlottesville tomorrow, and we start in the morning, of course, from somewhere around 9 there, and you will get additional information tomorrow. And we are there right up until in the evening. It's entertainment, it's shopping, it's food, and the ambience of Charlottesville for you. Road Market 7.
Excellent. And as you go, what message do you want to leave with members of your constituents specifically? Right after everything that you would have said on that live, is there anything that you want to clarify? Anything that you want to say to the people of your area?
Not necessarily clarify, but just let the residents of, or the constituents rather, of Bethel New Grange know that we are doing everything in our power to bring the kind of support and bring the kind of representation that we promised you. There is one thing, we are going to start that project. It took a year, but thankfully we are almost there. We're going to start that project, the walk-around track in Montgomery, so that would help with our exercise. God knows I need some exercise now myself to walk in the evening time. And we're going to start this very, very soon, so look out for that. And we hope that that project will bring some employment opportunities for some of the young people in and around the constituency as well. And we will just keep you posted about that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. And again, it's always a pleasure to have you here on Tobago Updates. Guys, we waste no time here this morning as we continue on with our conversation. I have joining me online Dr. Shane Mohammed, and we are talking about Trinidad and Tobago having a new president. As you know, yesterday we had the inauguration of Christine Kangaloo. And so we have a new president. So guys, that conversation is happening right now. We have Dr. Mohammed joining us. Dr. Mohammed, can you hear me? We're having a little bit of a connectivity issue there. So we're going to be talking a bit more about that presentation that was made yesterday by our new president, Christine Kangaloo. We're also going to talk about the fact that we had a no-show from the opposition. We had the opposition not showing up yesterday at that inaugural ceremony. And we also had a number of our representatives here from the THA that were present at that ceremony yesterday. So the conversation is going to continue here. I hope that Dr. Mohammed can join me soon, and we can get that conversation started as soon as possible. But until then, we're going to take a quick break, and I'll see you right after that break.
To a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never.
October will never be better. With Tobago, carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over. We live where you vacation. Come let we go, come let we go, come let we go to sweet Tobago. Come let we go, come till you know. Come find your soul in sweet Tobago. Come let we go, come let we go, come let we go to sweet Tobago. Come let we go, come till you know. Come find your soul in sweet Tobago.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning and welcome back. And guys, we're going to jump right into our conversation about that new president that we have. We had that inauguration ceremony happening yesterday down there in Port of Spain. And to have that conversation with me this morning, I'm joined by Dr. Shane Mohammed. Good morning, Dr. Mohammed. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you? I'm very well.
I'm okay, looking sharp as always. It's a pleasure to have you here on Tobago Updates.
Always a pleasure to be on Tobago Updates.
Right, and so we looked at that inaugural ceremony yesterday, and a lot of things stood out. One of them being the speech that was given by our new president, Christine Kangaloo, and she really spoke about her initiative to kind of make that presidency more modernized to suit today's society. You know, she talked about not being too remote and being a bit more accessible compared to previous presidents that we have seen in office before. So I don't know if she's trying to do kind of like a White House presidential thing where she allows person to come into the come in there and see what's happening and being more open to the public. Give us some insight on how you felt about that speech, especially about the initiative that she's taking to be more accessible to the public and be more visible than previous presidents that we've seen before.
Well, let me extend my congratulations to Her Excellency. And I actually posted yesterday that it was vision from inauguration. And, you know, there is this conversation that keeps coming up about constitutional reform, and at the top of that list is the office of the president. But in the interim, while we wait on constitutional reform, and I will say this, constitutional reform is dependent on the will of the people. If they want change, they must be able to vote to give a new administration, just as Tobago did, to give a new administration the mandate to go about providing those constitutional changes, which includes a reform and strengthening of the presidency. With that said, I think the presidency is what the office holder makes it. And given the constitutional restraints, because we have a constitutional presidency, and it is the office of the president is governed by the rules within the Constitution and the provisions within the Constitution. Notwithstanding that, I think Her Excellency went on to indicate very subtly that there are going to be restrictions to her presidency given what is written in the Constitution. However, that does not prevent her as the president and as the office holder to making her presidency impactful, embracing, people-centered. And, you know, it was quite refreshing, much to the disappointment that the opposition did not think it was important to go to not a political event, but a national event, which saw the inauguration of our second female president.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit more about that. Where patriotism is concerned, we hear the opposition talking about their level of patriotism all the time. And yesterday's events and their no-show kind of contradicted a lot of what they have been pushing for when they talk about that level of national pride and patriotism.
I think at the end of the day, we can use reference, and he's always a very good point of reference to make. If you want an example, when the whole idea of a new president arose, there were two names that were proposed, and on my part, and many people many members of the population suggested Mr. Pandey become the next president, and Mr. Pandey had indicated not too long after those comments that he was not interested in becoming president because he felt that the presidency was an office holder that did not have teeth. Notwithstanding his personal thoughts, he showed a level of statesmanship that Mr. Pandey has always showed, that yesterday's event traversed his personal his personal thoughts and beliefs, and that it was important for him as a former prime minister and as a statesman to actually be at the event, because the event is not a political one. The event is actually a state event. It is about the state of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And I went on to tell the Newsday yesterday that at the end of the day, there are many Trinbagonians that still have hope in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and that we every day we strive, we get, whether we agree to disagree, whether we agree or with each other or disagree with each other, we are all striving for a better nation. And I think what President Kangaloo brought to the table yesterday was a vision that we've not heard of from a president, any preceding president. We heard a vision for the presidency and the office of the president to be a space where education, social upliftment, and cultural activism can be a center stage. And she talked about the bandstand, she talked about the ballroom of the president's house, and using it for art shows, exhibitions, discussions, book clubs. You know, it's all of, and she also focused on the development of youth. And I think all of that ties into the fact that it is what at this stage, given the fact that we are in need of constitutional reform, it is what you make of the office. It is what you, they say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, where leadership is on the shoulders of the leader, and it is in the vision and thought process of the person who is holding the office. So therefore, I think we have a lot to look forward to. Christine Kangaloo, I mean, there are people who would want to talk about what happened between her and the former central bank governor. I think it's irrelevant. Putting that aside, Christine Kangaloo has had a very pristine reputation in the public's domain and is seen as one of the most respected politicians out there when she served at that level. What I also want to tell people is that we often don't look at the person behind the office. And in one of yesterday's dailies, there was a 2-page article about her surviving breast cancer. As a result of surviving breast cancer, she was unable to have children. She spoke about the loss of her sister through an accident. She spoke about the loss of her brother. So she went deep into her personal challenges, and for me, especially the cancer aspect, having relatives that were cancer survivors, as well as to family members that succumbed to the disease, I think it shows the strength and grit of the lady behind the office. And we as Trinbagonians can do our part by giving her the support that she needs. And she called on all of us to give her the support that she needs to make sure in her attempt to transform the office. And I don't think that her task, I saw other political scientists saying that it's a mama task. No, it's not. It's about getting buy-in. I think she got that buy-in yesterday, and I'm sure she's going to get the support of the nation. Where I think the grit I speak about of the lady will come into is when she has to make decisions that may not be in favor will be in the interest of the people and not be in favor of the government. And the government has a responsibility to understand that they can't always get their way. At the end of the day, yes, they nominated President Kangaloo for the role, but now she is elevated to a level of independence and independent thought, and therefore it's not simply what we say. I look forward to the day when she can be like President Robinson and tell our government, no, I don't agree with you.
When we look into the future, do you think we can see the opposition possibly getting past this, because there's nothing that they can do at this point to change it? So, or do you predict that we're going to see them continuing to stand up and say, well, you see what we told you she was politically affiliated, and this is the reason why particular decisions are being made? Can we possibly predict some level of maturity on the part of the opposition moving forward? What do you think?
I think that's a joke. I think the opposition has proven itself to be incompetent. I think they're quickly becoming irrelevant. And, I was thinking about how best I could say this in a diplomatic way. And I think the only way I could say it is that Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar has always had a problem. And that problem has always been that she always wanted to be the one woman of East Indian descent to be at a high level of authority. If you look at her history, and I can name several of them. If you look at her history as Prime Minister, remember she grew up in a man's world, politically grew up in a man's world, being having served as the only woman on the opposition bench, and then having all of these firsts attached to her name: first AG, first acting Prime Minister female, first AG female, first opposition leader female. And sometimes that level of hubris gets to a leader that is entrenched in the role. So that, look at the history in terms of how she treated former Minister Nan Ram Ghulam, who was an excellent Minister of Public Administration, how she emasculated former Minister Caroline C. Prasad Bechan, how she dismissed former MP Ramona Ramdayal, how she dismissed former member, MP and Minister Stacey Rupnarine, both of who were very young and intelligent women. So I think it's not about Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar. It's not that Mr. Pandey said she was anti-president. I think she's not anti-president. She's anti-woman who looks like her and who can rise above, because
it's a very strong statement to make on
of
your
course,
behalf.
I make no apologies for saying that.
Okay, and that is your opinion, and you have a right to your opinion. But moving forward, she said a lot of things, especially concerning youth development and her ability to really get more involved. A lot of persons are saying, well, it was just a really empowering speech, and it might just be like everyone has been before. Moving forward, I think that we really need to give her a chance to do a lot of the things that she says she wants to do. How can the public really open up their minds to really appreciate, regardless of all the propaganda and all the opinions surrounding her appointment, to really give her a chance to let her do what she has been appointed to do?
Well, you see, the thing about it is, it's not. I don't believe that there was propaganda surrounding her election, not her appointment. At the end of the day, that propaganda that you speak about was solely on the part of the opposition, and Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar had no problems and no issues and no qualms about putting forward former President Ian Robinson's name for presidency when he was the Member of Parliament for Tobago and Minister Extraordinary in 1997. My question from then to now is, what has changed? Nothing has changed. In fact, it is a benefit when someone who has been able to serve the people at the level at which both Ian Robinson and Christine Kangaloo has, they understand the plight of the people on the ground. So therefore, they don't come from a space where they are unattached and unrelatable and disconnected from the people. But you see, we often put persons in the office, and we put them in the office because they belong to the higher echelons of society. So we've put President Maxwell Richards was able to come down from his professorship and be a people's person. And there was nobody who loved our culture more than President Maxwell Richards. The same applies to President Kamuna. But there were also but it is all different styles of leadership which she highlighted. I mean, people will complain that President Weeks was far removed from and very unrelatable and disconnected from the population, and she herself made no apologies for that, and that's unfortunate because, as I say, I think there's also, we have to take into consideration there are two cultures in Tobago, and you know how much I love Tobago and I love the Tobagonian people, because there's a level of camaraderie, there's a level of understanding. When you speak to Tobagonians and you speak to them in a language in which they understand, they are less aggressive and less vociferous, and they are more accommodating and they are more supportive. And I think that is one of the things that is unique to the Tobagonian people, and why this administration in Tobago is able to maintain its popularity, because they're able to speak to the people in a language in which they understand. And I think President Kangaloo will get that support from the Tobagonian people. In terms of Trinidad, I find Trinidadians have become a very hateful group of persons. I think they have gotten to the point where they've become so fickle-minded and I tell my students this, that they have become so superficial that they fail to see that there's a human being and a person behind the office. And because there's so much disappointment in leadership in Trinidad, at the level of government, and when I talk about government, I talk about both government and opposition, there's so much disappointment that the Trinidadians have become more blasé and frustrated by the process, so that anything that comes forward as something new, they're very quick to dismiss it. And that's unfortunate, because if we want to become a progressive nation, I think our progressiveness has to come from the vision and the attitude from Tobago into Trinidad. And the Trinidadians love to come to Tobago. They see Tobago as their first place of coming, running away for vacation. And they need to sometimes just see it for the beauty that it is, and the island and Pigeon Point and all of that, but see it also for the beauty of the people and the understanding of the people, and also the maturity of the people. And maybe they could, and I've said it time and time again, that that Trinidadians can learn from our Tobagonian brothers and sisters in that manner of understanding and having and not having that level of conceitedness.
Agreed in that aspect. And so because of that, we hope to see Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo in Tobago pretty soon, as probably a part of her the inauguration. Maybe she might see it fit to come across and greet and meet some of the people here on the island of Tobago. And so we extend congratulations to her.
I think one of the things I would put forward, and I would suggest to Chief Secretary, is that one of his first order of business within the next couple of weeks should be an invitation to Her Excellency, and let her see that that across the divide, that let Tobago lead us in that regard. So I would suggest that let's not wait for the president to come to Tobago, but let's have the Chief Secretary invite Her Excellency to come to Tobago as one of her first order of business, so that she could meet, greet, and interact with the Tobagonian people. I think that would be very fitting.
Suggestion. And again, in terms of looking at Tobago as more than just a tourist attraction, excellent point there. So, unfortunately, we don't have sufficient time to continue with this conversation, but we know that you are a regular here and we're going to see you back again very soon. So, again, thank you for taking the time out this morning to discuss the newly appointed president, Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo, and we give her all the congratulations, and we look forward to her being able to implement a number of those things that she spoke about. And as the public, we just want to encourage persons to give her a chance, open up your minds, and hopefully, as you suggested, we see her here in Tobago, hopefully upon the invitation of the Chief Secretary. Because I think that it's important for a number of school children, even at the primary school level, to be able to have that interaction, to see up close and personal the president in her full glory. So, again, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Tobago Updates for another episode of Good Morning Tobago. It's always a pleasure to sit here with you and have those conversations and ask those questions that you want to ask. So, guys, have a great day. And again, we thank you for joining us. Thank you for liking and sharing and participating in the discourse. And it's only because of you that we are the #1 broadcasting station here on the island of Tobago. Again, thank you and have a great day.
And the vibes is never